गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। टुडे वी गोना टेक एन ओवरव्यू ऑफ पाक defeat. And to discuss this overview or give us an overview, I have with me General Vinod Bhatia. Sir, good evening and welcome to Gana Shot. It's such a great pleasure that I could, we're getting together on Gana Shot after such a long time. And
Thanks, thanks,
please, sir.
Shankar. Thanks, Ganesh, and thank you to your viewers. It's always an honor and a pleasure. It's very interesting to have a conversation on Ganesh Short. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So kind of you that you could make time. And we couldn't speak earlier on this because you were busy and for a long time you were out of station also. Uh, but the thing is that now things have stabilized. A lot of things are coming into focus, and as we say, it's okay that we've gone through a war, a skirmish, conflict, whatever it is. We've got out of it, and we've gone into the way I look at it into the post-conflict stabilization stage. And in this, a lot of issues would have come up. A lot of issues like, did we plan well? Did we go up doing things well? What have we learned from it? And what are the outcomes of this whole story? And these are still coming out because 4 days, a lot of hyperaction and a lot of outcomes. And the world is slowly realizing that what is the truth of this skirmish. And, people have started looking behind the Pakistan and Chinese narrative. So I would, with this, sir, I'd like to request you to give us an overview of what happened. How did things plan out? Because you had a lot of interaction with other senior officers in Delhi, and I think everyone should know how did India go about defeating Pakistan in this round. With this, sir, over to you.
Thank you very much indeed. My, first question on the planning and the conduct. Having been a student of warfare and military history like you for nearly 5 decades now, 4.5 decades definitely. Uh, Let me tell you that this skirmish, Operation Sindoor, uh, short of war response, punitive operation, whatever you call it, will be studied by the militaries of the world all over and right lessons drawn. This is a classic example of a military campaign, you call it, whatever you call it, planned and executed to near perfection. So we should be very proud of our nation, our people, and our armed forces for having planned and executed this and have been in control of the consequences throughout. As far as the operation is concerned, of course, Pahalgam was very bad. The terror strike in Pahalgam. There was anguish, there was anger in the 1.45 billion people of India on what has happened, and even others in the world. It's not that we were the only ones who were angry. They were all the angry because this can happen anywhere, anytime, in any place, right? And we should have no doubts that the terror attack in Pahalgam was perpetrated, sponsored, supported, planned, executed by Pakistan. Some of us wrongly call it non-state actors. No, sorry, these are state actors. They're very much integral part of the Pakistani army and the Pakistani state. I'm not talking deep state. They have always supported terrorism. World over, any terror attack, 95% will find a linkage, direct or indirect, back to Pakistan. The Pakistan epicenter of terror. Pakistan, with great impunity, under the nuclear umbrella, executed and carried out terror attacks, not only in Jammu and Kashmir, but all over India for nearly 30 years. Right. It's only 2016 for the first time in the surgical strikes post Uri that we did raise the cost for Pakistan terror when we raided 7 training camps or launch pads in POK. And Pakistan rightly said that Indian forces have not come to Pakistan, which is right because POK is Indian territory. Next graduation comes in 2019 with a strike on Jabba Top, which is a known terrorist training camp, which we wrongly call it Balakot. Balakot is 20 kilometers away. right? And now when Pahalgam happened, look at the political direction, look at the military capabilities. We have upgraded it from strike on launch pads of terror to a air precision strike by Air Force into Pakistan on Jabba Top, and now taking out on the first day 9 terrorist camps, both in POK and in Pakistan, including the what you call the most safe terrorist headquarters in Murid K and other places. These are known terrorist training camps, right? So I think it was a very well calibrated operation. It demonstrated a great synergy at the political military level. The political directions were categorical, clear, comprehensive, based on military capabilities which had upgraded over the years. And we executed this operation, I would call it a 90-hour operation, taking punitive and preemptive action against Pakistan terror, which has happened. And this, I think, will has raised the cost and cost of Pakistan. I'm not saying that Pakistan will stop its policy of terror against India, bleeding India with 1,000 cuts. But what I'm trying to say is that Pakistan have to think 1,000 times before carrying out such attacks. And before I finish with this, let me also say that post 2016 September, after Uri strikes, there will be no terror attack outside of Jammu and Kashmir. Otherwise, we had regular, terror attack regular intervals. Delhi Parliament attack, the Diwali bombings, Red Fort, Mumbai 2011, Bombay serial blast, Coimbatore, Bangalore, Ahmedabad. So you name it, it was everywhere. So this is what has changed after 2016, and now after 2025, after Op Sindoor, Pakistan's costs have increased tremendously, and the nuclear umbrella under which Pakistan carried the attacks with impunity is no longer a factor, which is categorically told by the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, that we will not consider nuclear as a factor, and we will go and गोली का जवाब गोले से देंगे.
Yeah, I think that was a very short, nice overview of what happened, sir. The first thing which I'd like to ask you is, everyone knows now what has happened. Now, I think we have to start looking into the future. You mentioned that, look, 2016 to 2024, we got some kind of a, I wouldn't say peace, but no major incidents. This is the first major incident after Pulwama. Now, do you think this, after this and this action thereof, we will get some window before which Pakistan will recover and try to do something? The way I look at it, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, nothing will happen, but then Pakistan will do something after that. And that's the way that's the minimum I see. I'd like your views on this, sir.
Jai Shankar, you're looking at rational and logic as a military man. Now, rationality is not a strength of Pakistan, right? So let's not underestimate Pakistan. Let's not underestimate our adversary ever. We are good. We are very good. We are very strong. Besides the point, this is a very sharp, swift, surgical operation. Very good. But Pakistan's rationality is irrationality. I I will not be surprised if Pakistan, to assuage the feeling of the public, carries out something in the near to immediate term. Okay, we should be prepared for it.
Yeah,
We should not let our guard down. Our counter infiltration grid along the LC has to be very strong. Our counter terrorism grid in the hinterland has to be very strong. The network, the Pakistani network of terror has not been disbanded. Sorry, it has been hurt very badly, degraded very badly, but it has not been disbanded. So I will not be surprised if something happens in the near to immediate term. But yes, logically, if you look at it, 2016, 2019, 2024, Riasi could have been a very bad one. The bus went into the ditch, the same lot of lives. And then Pahalgam, 2025. Yes, you're right, logically. But we should be prepared that Pakistan will test its waters once more, because Pakistan thinks, rightly or wrongly, they've been beaten, but they're not out. They're not knocked out as yet. Okay, and that is not our aim in any case. Our aim was to raise the cost and cost of Pakistan, carry out punitive operations and preemptive operations. We have spoken of the 3P strategy on your show a number of times.
Yeah,
The 3P Pakistan strategy is proactive, preemptive, and punitive. What we did was in the punitive and in the preemptive operations domain, right? So Pakistan may try and do something, so we should be on our guard and make sure that he does not succeed in bleeding us ever again.
game. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, sir. When I said 2 to 3 years, by logic, I should have said another 5 to 6 years, nothing would happen. The I mean, why I said only 2 to 3 years, I is that look, Pakistan, while I grant everything what you have said, that they're irrational, they will search for an opportunity to pay you back in the same coin. They're also beset with internal problems. And they're also, and to a large extent, this operation has changed the rules of the game. In the changed rules of the game, I think, in my view, Pakistan will not venture into anything in a hurry. It will reset the game and then start. It is in that context I said 2 to 3 years. But I take your point completely with an irrational actor like Pakistan. This piece can break down tomorrow also, or whatever we have achieved can be unraveled tomorrow. Especially if Pakistan and its army get a few knocks in Baluchistan and they get a few knocks in TTP against TTP, they might just turn back on us. Already they're making a case that we are interfering with them in Baluchistan. So that I agree with you 100%. Right.
No,
But you made,
more so, I said that because we should not let our guard down.
yeah, I am coming to
That is
that.
the main
I
thing.
am coming to that.
Because
No, no, I'm coming to that.
because euphoria can lead to complacency. Rightly so, we should be proud
Complacency.
of what we have done. But that does not mean we should let our guard down. That is the meaning.
I, I, I go 100% with you. It is in that extension of what you have said. I'm going to ask you the next question. You said 3P strategy, right? Punitive action, preemptive action, and proactive action. And I did think in that is this 3P approach that you push Pakistan back on the back foot. If you could outline what we need to do in as part of this, as part of action, as part of messaging, and tell Pakistan, look, you do all this is what you're going to get. And I think that is important to delay any reaction from Pakistan. I would request you to dilate on this because not many people will understand this 3P strategy, and I think this is very important.
Thank you. I think that is the key challenge. Uh, if you look at Pakistan today, and when I say today, I mean the last 3, 4 years, Pakistan is militarily weak. Pakistan economically weak, not only weak economically in terms, and Pakistan politically weak, right? And for the first time in on 9th of May 2024, exactly a year ago almost, when this operation was going on, the Pakistani people for the first time revolted against the authority of the Pakistani army by ransacking the house of GOC 4 Corps in Lahore.
Yeah, we spoke about
Now,
it then.
yes, we spoke about it. So there is a pent up groundswell against the Pakistani army, right? So the Pakistani army is trying to garner a victory in the minds, hearts and minds of the Pakistani people. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is simple that it is the time that we should keep ensuring that Pakistani now we have done the military action diplomatically, informationally, economically, it keeps getting hit. Okay. And I think in that, I'm not talking about any more military action right now because our aim was to have ensure a proportional, measured response to Pahalgam. We did that on the 6th, 7th night or 7th early morning, 7th of May, by taking out 9 terrorist camps, precision strikes, absolutely precision strike, without crossing the line of control and the international border by our people, right? And thereafter, we did not want an escalation, rightly so. Escalation doesn't uh, help anyone. And we thereafter went into a proactive mode once Pakistan started targeting military targets. Okay. And that, I think, was what changed this time when we went on the 10th of May, and in those 90 minutes or so, we took out 11 plus 2 airfields and the air defense, leaving the skies totally open, dominated by Indian Air Force, with the capability to hit Pakistan anywhere, in any quantum, at any time. And that is, I think, what forced the Pakistan DGMO to call up our DGMO at 3:25 in the afternoon, the 10th, and seek cessation of hostilities. Now, the point is that it is not ended, but we need to keep raising the cost of Pakistan. When we talk of Pakistan, I think Pakistan we should divide into three categories. The Pakistani army, which needs to be degraded, both in reputation and otherwise. The Pakistan political dispensation, which is in any case a lame duck dispensation. It's a selected government, not an elected government, right? Selected by the Pakistani army. And the third is the people of Pakistan, right? So when we address these three, from on economic means, in the economic domain, in the diplomatic domain, and in the informational domain, I think that is the way forward. Whereas the military is on standby, on stand to act or react as and when required. For this, I think we are fully prepared. We have a policy in place, and we have seen excellent synergy at the political, military, diplomatic level. I will not say information level.
Yeah, since you not said information levels, I think we need to dwell on that. And I'll give you a precursor to that. I mean, I will give you a preamble to my thought process. And I take it from what you said again. You see, we as a nation, every time Pakistan has a problem anywhere, especially against India, the nation, coalesces around the army because the people of the Pakistan feel it is the army which provides them security from India. And for the first time, they felt, in the first 2 3 days of the war, the feeling internally in Pakistan was, look, we are now at the mercy of India, and we are not we are vulnerable. And even TV anchors were, crying on the TV, and they were in panic, sheer panic. As a result, with the information war which Pakistan unleashed, the army unleashed, they have gained back the support of the people. So I think one of the things we have to do proactively, uh, and very, in a concentrated manner, is to convince the people of Pakistan that the army is not, we cannot provide them security. They have to go back to basic democracy to get themselves security. And for that, I think we need to do a lot of information, campaign, public opinion building. I'd like your views on that because this is something which we have not done enough.
You see, when I talk of informational domain, I would divide into basically the target audience. One is public opinion in India. Two is public opinion in Pakistan. Three is the impact of the public opinion on the decision-making authorities in Pakistan. And fourth, equally important, is the international community. Right. So when I talk of informational, this thing, there is a domestic audience. The public sentiment had to be assuaged, no doubt about it, which we did very, very well. Somehow I do feel that we went a little hyper over it. There are nearly 1,000 television channels streaming news 24/7, trying to break news, trying to outdo each other, whatever it is. So I think, went a little overboard, and the public sentiment was that we should go in for a war, right? Right time to finish it off once for all. It doesn't happen that way. If you look at it, the political end state which we wanted had been achieved. The military objectives which we laid down have been achieved. So that is how responsible risen nations like India, they do business, right? We're a responsible nation, a risen nation. We're not Pakistan. Don't compare Pakistan. We have 1.4 billion people. Their well-being is our concern. If we want Viksit Bharat, we have to have Surakshit Bharat. We cannot have Viksit Bharat without being Surakshit Bharat. We cannot have Surakshit Bharat without being Viksit Bharat. So the Viksit Bharat, Surakshit Bharat have to go hand in hand. And I think that is where I think we should actually give a shabash to ourselves at every domain. And when I say information domain, I think there's a time to work it out and have an information strategy and have means to influence public opinion and carry out psychological warfare in Pakistan, where we have the credibility, because it has to be based on credibility. You can't be Pakistan, just dishing out, things which have got no logic, which are no rational, which are not based on facts. So, but someone said a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. Okay. So, but that is not the way we will do it. We should have credibility in our information domain. And that is where I think channels, responsible channels like Ghana Short uh, come in. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, this is something which I think we need to do. Uh, we also saw a heavy or a huge China hand in this operation. In fact, many circles say this was an undeclared war against India by China through Pakistan. And there is, I mean, various opinions on that. We can be euphoric in the fact that, look, in a way, indirectly, we pushed back on China. I'd like you to dilate on these issues, sir, because I think people have to understand that what we have done and what is ahead for us.
See, one has to be very analytical in this. If you look at the events from Pelgam onwards till the 10th of May, China has done nothing directly. Nothing directly. Okay. There were no increase in transgressions along the LAC. There is no posturing which is there in the LAC. China has given only moral and material support to Pakistan. Right? Pakistan, ally of China. Pakistan is not a ally, sorry, well, the wrong state. It's a client state of China. Okay.
Yeah,
We have to understand that aspect. Pakistan is nearly a client state of China. If that be so, still, uh, Pakistan would have expected much more from China, which has not happened. So every nation looks after its own interests. As far as China is concerned, it needs India. And that is where I think it has only given moral and material support to Pakistan and done nothing more than that. When I say moral support, yes, moral support, it is in the UN and other forums, fine. They are allies, client state, whatever it is. But we should be a little more pragmatic about the whole thing. And China could have done some posturing because the month of May, and China has not done that. So I suppose it is managed well diplomatically, politically. And the Indian Army and the Indian Armed Forces have stood their ground along the LAC while carrying out preemptive and punitive operations on the West. Okay. We have not gone in for mobilization. We have not gone for recall notices. And we had planned this in a big way that this happens, this plans on this thing, contingency planning is always done. There's nothing new about it. Any military will tell you that you always plan. But what India has proved is most armies, most armed forces planned for the last war. We did not. We planned for the next one. So you see the graduation of 16 to 19. After 19, we went in for a very sort of a focused planning and building of capabilities of a next one, of punitive and preemptive operations for the next one, which happened 2025. We had everything in place beautifully. Right. For that, the three armed forces worked together. There was total synergy. There's synergy between the political, military level, and we had the wherewithal to hit out at Pakistan in a next generation or a new age warfare, as I call it. Right. So we should give ourselves pat. But what now when we prepare the next one? I'm sure the people who are responsible, people who are accountable, are already working at it.
Right. The next thing, sir, you said next generation warfare. That's what we did. We did tomorrow's war, right? And in this, I want to be go a little, theoretical or academic. We'll have this, and then I'll get back to China because I think the larger game is with China. We all know that. The nature of war. You see, the past 3, 4 years, people have said, look, the nature of war has changed. We are looking at technology and all that, fine. But we are looking at wars which will be long in nature and things like that. Uh, and we've quoted the Israel war, what with Gaza in Gaza, with the Russia-Ukraine war and things like that, and say we have to go for the long haul, and the short wars are finished. But the exact opposite has happened here. We've finished, you call it whatever you want, this military engagement of 4 days between two nuclear powers has given a matrix for nuclear powers to operate on. And I'm sure China, with the kind of investment it has done in Pakistan in terms of its moral support, in terms of its equipment and all that, and we know the outcomes and we know the failures also. Do you think China will take some lessons home? And I please link it with what you said earlier. China needs India. See the military impact of this and see how the leverage, if you could put in, is the way you smiled tells me that you got what you have to say and how things are. I'd like your views on that, sir.
See, China, would be definitely studying every aspect of it, because China does not want a conflict with India. Neither India want a conflict with China. It serves no purpose to anyone, especially China in the geopolitical space, as you called a number of times, is challenging the US for a bipolar world, right? And if it was to, China has opened too many fronts. It's got Taiwan, South China Sea, Korea, India, China line of actual control. So if you look at all this, the EC, so they opened too many fronts, and they talk about six wars, right?
Yeah,
And they talk about six wars, and the third war is with India, which is in time frame of 2030, 2035. Okay, so it is not that we all talk of China uh, philosophy of winning without fighting. At the present, it wants to contain India, but it wants India on its side in the bigger game, because India is a big player now, big player. So China will study what we have done at the operational level, at the tactical level, and the strategic level also, right? Because it showed our strategic resolve and again a strategic restraint. Let me go back to China. You find, in the same context, but in a different sort of a tempo. Let us go back to Kailash Ridge. Okay. Again, what did Kailash Ridge demonstrate? A strategic resolve, a strategic signal to China that if you can do Depsang, if you can do Pengong So, we can also do Kailash Ridge. Right? But having done Kailash Ridge on the 29th, 30th August of 2021, we came back. We issued our aim of the strategic signaling, and which led to the resolution of the issues, which led to a status quo ante as of 4th of April 2020, which we wanted. Okay, it is not that. So we have again shown in Pakistan also same thing, a strategic resolve and a strategic restraint. We wanted to so much exactly measured one. We did that, and then we showed the restraint. So China would be studying our strategies. It will be studying our operational doctrines. It will be studying our tactical this thing, and look at the modus vivendi in a different way altogether. Well, China continues to be our primary threat, a definite threat, a defined threat. It will continue to use Pakistan, its client state, to as a proxy to keep testing waters, to keep testing its equipment, it keep testing military capabilities, its military hardware, its technology on the Western front. where it builds capabilities and logistics on the northern front, or its southern front actually.
Right. Now, we've outlined, sir, the three P strategy with Pakistan, which is punitive, proactive, and preemptive. That's well understood because Pakistan needs that kind of a aggressive approach, if I may say. And we've also spoken of the 4D strategy against China. And I'd like you to explain this 4Ds for the benefit of all people because I think that 4D comes in, you know, has more relevance in this context because while we can go for a punitive strategy against Pakistan, we need to go in for a more a deterrent and a denial strategy with, China. And that strategy has to be underpinned by 4Ds. I request you to highlight that, sir, because this your coinage. I want
See,
to listen from with your words.
we discussed this on your channel earlier, and you
Yeah,
added the
but
four.
sir,
I
but
add
the
what is
thing is that
the 3D. You the 4D came from you actually, so it's a
so, but
joint.
no, that's okay, sir. But people, a lot of them would have forgotten what we spoke then. I think it needs to be reminded, and people have to understand this. Yeah.
Okay, when you talk of China and India-China relations, China respects strength, and we want to speak to China, talk to China, behave with China from a position of relative strength. Okay, China is today a economic power, a political power, a technological power, a strategic power. Okay, I have no doubts about it. It's a big, big country. It's got the largest armed force in the world. And when we talk to China, we talk to relative strength. How do we maintain the relative strength? First is defend the LAC because all the problems start from the LAC. We're vulnerable there. We've got a 3, 4, 8 kilometer long borders, and China does occupy over 110,000 square kilometers of our territories. Claims, sorry, not occupies. It occupies about 38,500 square kilometers in the section, but claims 110,000 square kilometers of our territories, approximately, plus minus a few. Right. So we have to defend the LAC, the line of actual control, which in itself is, you know, not defined. The second D is dominate the sea lines of communication. Because China's strategic concerns, its strategic vulnerabilities are in the sea lanes of communication, where 80% of trade passes through the sea lanes of the Indian Ocean, which we dominate. Right. So that's the second thing, dominate the sea lanes of communication. The third D is depth diplomacy that is bind to balance with nations where a congruence and convergence of national interests. Quad is an example. Japan, Australia, US. Though Quad does not have a security sort of domain, but Quad looks at China, and China feels that Quad is a anti-China sort of a grouping. And the 4D, which you had added rightly so, is deny space in the neighborhood, which I don't think we're succeeding in the fourth one. Right? Three, I think we're doing well, but again, the fourth one, we're not really succeeding. If we look at our neighborhood, China has made ingress into Bangladesh, trying to woo Nepal. It's got an island in Maldives. It's got Hambantota in Sri Lanka. So the string of pearls is there. But then if there is string of pearls, we also have string of diamonds as a philosophy, and it is a really a match drawn. So this is the 4D strategy against China, and I think we have we again give ourselves a pat to have done very well the LAC in 2020, 21, 22 when we resolved the issues, and China for the first time has withdrawn from areas it had occupied. Let me take a minute more. What is
Yes,
China's
sir.
strategy?
Please.
What is China's strategy? We want to understand China's strategy. And if you look at the last 70 to 76 years, China's strategy is very categorical. They followed this strategy always. China's strategy claim, occupy, legitimize, integrate, and exploit. Right? I'll say that again. First, it will claim an area, then it will occupy it. Once having occupied it, it will legitimize it because they will be in legal warfare. After having legitimized it, they'll integrate the whole thing, the people and all, follow the communist philosophy, be the part of the People's, Communist Party of China, and then exploit the region. If you look at Tibet, you look at East Turkmenistan, you look at Mongolia, Southern Mongolia, it has always been that philosophy. But for the first time, they have gone back from territories that occupied or the forward deployment in 2020.
Yeah, it's not only in 2020, sir. 2020, they went back 9 kilometers in Pangangso. And thereafter, last year, uh, October 24, they even vacated Depsang and went back. I think that was a historic achievement that they went back to the starting point. And I don't think any country in the recent history, right? I'll go back to the Korean War. From the Korean War to now, China has gone back to its starting point the way we have pushed them back. And to that extent, I go with you. We have achieved a lot against China, but at the same time, I don't think we can let our guard down on the 4D strategy, because that is something which we have to, actually actualize fully. Uh, I go with you 100% on this. And this is reinforced by the fact that the danger is not gone. You see, the signaling from China has come as we were doing whatever we wanted to with Pakistan. They started renaming places, some more places in Arunachal Pradesh. In this period, only they renamed a few places in Arunachal Pradesh. And that's a signal which they've given to us. And I don't think we can, ignore these signals from China. Your views on this, sir?
Absolutely no, no. China not gone anywhere. They have gone back, but doesn't mean that everything is normal. Everything is not normal. They will continue to do what they want to do. That is contain India, right? In the near to midterm, contain India, right? And that is what they're doing. They'll pressurize. It is China believes in political warfare. If you look at China's three warfare strategy, public opinion, psychological warfare, and legal warfare. So this is part of psychological warfare against India and public opinion in the own constituency. So we'll have to look at, when we look at things, we'll have to be analytical about the whole thing rather than episodical, saying the China's rename. It'll continue to rename, it doesn't really matter. The
Yeah,
names
yeah.
don't, yeah. Look, that is China's doing. But that doesn't mean that we should take note of it, take cognizance of the fact that China is there and not let a guard down. We need to build capabilities, enhance capacities, knowing very well that today we don't have a two front or two and a half front threat anymore. We have a three front threat or three front plus threat with the China, Pakistan, Bangladesh axis. Okay. And let me say that we have to look at the future and we will need abhi bhi in everyone Indian army, Indian army, go to war. No, sorry. Firstly, armies don't go to war, nations go to war. Secondly, armies are not meant to fight wars, they're meant to ensure peace. We need peace, stability, and economic development of our nation, Viksit Bharat. Please understand that. Armies are not meant to fight wars, they're supposed to ensure peace. How to ensure
Peace.
peace? Ensure peace through preparedness, through deterrence, what we call in the military jargon. But peace through preparedness. अगर आप तगड़े नहीं हो, गांव में भी आपको आके मारते हैं लोग. अगर आप तगड़े हो तो आपको कोई नहीं मारेगा. बहुत तगड़े को आंख नहीं उठाएगा. ठीक है? We have to be तगड़ा. When I say तगड़ा, we have to be strong enough in every domain, especially military domain. And for that, I think we need to invest monies. We'll have to look at the emerging threats in India's case, which are definite, which are defined. It is China, it is Pakistan, internal security, Bangladesh. And it is China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, internal security. So that is what we are facing.
Right. So the important thing which you brought out, sir, is fine. We've done what we had to do, but we need to improve our capability so that
Correct.
people don't have this thing. I think that's a big takeaway. And this Op Sindoor has reinforced the fact that unless you have capability, people will keep making eyes at you.
See,
That's fine, sir.
2019,
Yeah,
2019, if 2019 in Jabba Top, what we did and what we did in 2025, look at the sea change in our
see
operational
change. Yeah,
doctrine, in our capabilities, what we created, where does Atmanirbhar, अपने indigenous capabilities, what we procured, the way we are a great nation, we are a great people, we are great armed forces. Our equipment comes from all over the world, right? And we integrate it and exploit it, whether it's Russian, whether it's American, whether it's Swedish, whether it's Israeli, whether it's French. But we can, we can put them all into the same sort of a basket, and we are seamless thereafter. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. Okay, so that is where we think. But now we have to look forward, and 2025 will not come back. We'll have to look at the future way of deterrence against China and 3P strategy against Pakistan.
yeah. So I think that's a very major thing, sir. Takeaway for us is that look, we've done what we have to do. Great, we've achieved hell of a lot, but we need to look ahead. The next war won't be this like this war. It has to be something different. And if you want to be the third largest economy in the world, which we will become, we also need to be a great power militarily. And that you need, like you rightly said, militaries, and give peace and ensure development of nations and not go to fight. And we're not an expeditionary kind of a nation. So I think that's a very great thing. And I think everyone who's watching this should take away from here that what the big lesson from Ops Sindoor is we need to develop capabilities. And that is not negotiable. And we need to develop our own capabilities, not American, not French, not Russian. I'd like you to spend a little more time on this because I think this is the crux of what we have been speaking for a long time, sir.
See, when you talk of capabilities, uh, operational preparedness, defense preparedness, operational readiness, is the sum total of doctrines, your organizations, your material, your manpower, your training and leadership, right? So what we have demonstrated in the, till now, we always stood the test of time, but at some costs. There will be cost to everything. I'm not saying that there will be cost. But today things are changing rapidly. Technology is coming in a big way. And we need to understand that technology is a force multiplier. As a force multiplier, it also multiplies forces. Okay. We also start using technology as a force substitutor. We'll have to look at specific requirements for an operational domain. Like you rightly said, we are Army Air Defense, our Air Force has done exceedingly well. We have exploited loitering ammunition, we exploited drones, we were synergized in the intent operations domain, right? We did not even, you know, we were so sure of ourselves, so confident ourselves that we did not even declare mobilization or recall people. We went in with what we had, and that is where the trust between the higher organization come in. But now we're going to build from the top to the bottom. We have to look at our higher defense organization. We'll have to look at our defense budget, not only defense allocation defense budget, but the optimal utilization defense budget. We have to look at Atmanirbharta. We'll have to rethink our manpower policy or HR policy. I still feel very strongly that Agnipath is not the right way forward. Agniveer is not the right way forward. We can put photographs that they've done well. But today they only about so much percentage, no more. Tomorrow, when the complete in the next 3 to 4 cycles, we'll have Agniveers totally. Things will be different. They'll be rightly so looking after the shoulders to finish off the 4 years, like the PLA does. That's what our advantage over PLA is basically a men because they come for a 2 year conscription. Every 6 months they are turned over. Then the frontline units, 40% of them. So they can't sustain it. So we should not be doing that. So we should look at this. Our leadership has done very well. They deserve uh, kudos from our side. Salute them. Our training has paid dividends. But from here onwards, focus on these issues of doctrines, material, organizations. And as an organization, we need integrated theater commands. We've spoken about it, right? So we will have to now have a roadmap and transition management policy, a transition management process in place to ensure that integrated set of commands come about in an optimal manner.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Before we finish off, I'd like you to give an overview of what we said. You said 3.5 friends, from 2 to 3.5 friends, and the third one obviously is Bangladesh. If you could spend a couple of minutes on Bangladesh and your views on how Bangladesh is evolving as a threat, which we have to take care, and how do we take care of it? Uh,
No,
Your
but you
views.
see, this anti-India sentiment, we're a big country, but we should at times come down to the stick. Okay. This, soft power, wait and watch, it doesn't work always. We should come down with a heavy hand. We should use our hard power, our smart power, or even a sharp power to tell Bangladesh, and that's what we're doing. But we got to do it in a more overt manner. 70% of the trade goes through the land ports, 24 land ports. Out of that, 70% goes through only one petrol. Close that, and that's what what's happening now. Let them suffer the cost of being anti-India. They're anti-India in any case. The dispensation. Every now and then, Siliguri corridor. Please understand, if we could create, liberalize, uh, uh,
Liberate.
liberate Bangladesh in 14 days or 13 days, in 14 hours, we can divide Bangladesh in the Chittagong corridor. What corridors are they talking about? If you look at the Chittagong corridor,
Yeah,
24, 25 kilometers. Okay. So the Bangladesh should understand if we're not doing it, we're not doing it. Why? We are a responsible nation. But that does not mean you can, keep pushing us, keep pushing us, keep pushing us, and expect no reaction. Sorry. No, don't talk about Siliguri corridor. I've been the corps commander there. Let me tell you that. There's nothing they can do. Nothing means nothing. और अगर हम 13 दिन में 14 दिन में बांग्लादेश बना सकते हैं तो हम 13 घंटे में उसको भी कर सकते हैं ठीक है एंड
yeah,
आई
yeah,
नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट माय हैड
yeah,
we
yeah.
are
I agree
we
with
don't
you,
we,
sir.
yeah we if we're not doing it, it is because of the reason we're not doing it. We don't want it. We want a peaceful region. Okay.
Yeah,
And Bangladesh got internal problems. We have got a problem in the West in any case. We don't have a problem in the East. So they better behave. Sorry. We're a big
yeah.
power and understand that.
Yeah, I think I need to reinforce this to everyone who's watching. General Bhatia has commanded the corps there, so he knows the chicken's neck or Siliguri corridor very well. I mean, on a slower level, I was a CO in, spent 3 years in the Siliguri corridor, so I know that what he's talking of. I mean, I'll put it this way: if the Siliguri corridor is today 22 kilometers wide, if needed at the time of our necessity, it can become 44 kilometers wide also. It's not a big deal. That's the way I always looked at it. And if you cut off the, Chittagong corridor, half of Bangladesh, one of their major ports, Cox's Bazar, everything gets cut off, and end of story. Then you'll have a truncated Bangladesh left. Let me tell this. This is part of our strategic messaging to Bangladesh. I think Bangladesh has to understand this. The time has come when it can no more take India for granted. The story of closing a few, ports here and there, and all that is all kahani. I think if Bangladesh rectifies itself, well and good. But otherwise, we'll have to do what we have to do. But having said that, sir, I would like to qualify that Bangladesh has its own internal problems, which it has to today overcome. And I think we have to give it still a little leeway for it to overcome because there's some tension between Mr. Yunus and the army and things like that. So we'll have to give it still a thing. Any more you want to see on Bangladesh? If not,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take some
I think
questions.
fortunately the Bangladesh army is very mature.
Yeah,
Okay, very very mature, very professional, very good, and I think that is they know what they what is good for the people of Bangladesh, right? And they're not interfering at all till now. They're just having a watch. Uh, so that is I leave it at that. And the Bangladesh army uh, is stable right now.
yeah, I think so, sir. And right, so I with this, I'll take a few questions and I'll take this thing. I thought we had a wonderful discussion. Yeah, the first question, sir. Tips for clearing SF probation, especially with respect to lack of sleep. I think he must be hoping to get into SF.
Yes,
And
you
you,
want something to do something like join the SF. There's no denying that. And it's not a lack of sleep, lack of everything,
yeah,
lack of
you have
food.
to,
Yeah,
you,
you join the SF, you'll be tested for your saturation point, and suddenly you realize that you don't have a saturation point.
yeah,
Okay, you can live without food, without water, without sleep, without medical, without anything, and continue to achieve your mission. Okay, and once you get in, it's a great organization, and in for the great organization. Why only this? Do that. Don't worry, lack of
yeah,
sleep. Lack of sleep never killed anyone. Lack of food never
yeah,
killed anyone. You know, your body can take so much of beating, honestly. And the more the body takes the beating, the better you become. Your mind,
yeah.
वो कहते हैं ना फौज में क्या कहते हैं दिल दिमाग और कलमे वाली उंगली का तालमेल ओके
Kalme
व्हाट
wala
इज
English this, sir.
कलमे वाली means action your dil
Uh,
dimag it is not only your physical fitness it is dil dimag kalme wali you need to intellectually also good and you are thank you for asking the question it reinforces my uh, my respect for the
yeah,
youth.
yeah. And let me tell you, the most important thing in the profession of arms is not health, wealth, strength, ye, wo, it's your ability to withstand mental pressure. Dimag chahiye, right? Everything is done from here. Strength in the mind is most important. Okay. Then Vikas, thanks a lot for becoming a member. Hari Rao, also thank you. Kaushik, thanks a lot for becoming a member again. A lot of people joining me as members, so great. Upadhyay Ratiraj, also thank you. Uh, yeah, Kamla Murlidhar Setlur, thank you for joining me as a member. Veena Gopi, also thank you for joining me as a member. And Janikram Nelisari, also thanking you all for joining me as members. Right. Uh, okay, sir. There's some interesting questions I'd like to, you to answer. So, as you know, China has built dams on Brahmaputra and uses it. So, I don't think they'll be able to give us any problems when we are about to do the same. Your comments, sir.
See, in international this thing, we are low riparian to China and Pakistan low riparian to us. We have a reason to do what we are doing on the West. Okay, IWT is may not be a very fair treaty. It has lived its time, 1963 onwards. It was good at a point of time, and it needs to review it today. And there are reason and clauses to review it actually. Whereas China is concerned, it will like to put pressure on us on the Brahmaputra on the waterfront. It is building the largest dam in the world. Okay, and water wars are water wars. Sometime down the line, not in my lifetime, of course. What the scarcity of water will be hit very bad. Climate change, water wars. These are the things for the future. So I do feel that China also, let's not talk of standards because China has double standards.
Yeah.
One for it and one for the world.
Yes. Sanjeev Kumar says, excellent discussion. Thanks a lot. But Shekhar says, I fully disagree with India not being an expeditionary nation. This is propaganda bestowed upon us by British. History is full of Indians going and conquering. The mindset is our bane of existence. So he feels that we are expeditionary, we are capable of being expeditionary, and we should be expeditionary. Your views, sir.
Shankar, that's an interesting one. I think we need to study this more. But if you look at, I'm talking about India post-independence, right? If you look at India post-independence, we should be very proud of what we have done. In 47, 48, we did push back. We were not prepared for it. We did push back the Kabalis when they came in. In 48, Hyderabad. You go further, 62, okay, we got a meeting. 65, both Run of Kutch and the 68 war, we did reasonably well. 71, we divided a nation. Okay. 74, we had the first PNE on 19th of May. That's the peaceful nuclear. Okay. So that was in 74, we went nuclear. And again, if you go further, 71, we went in, but we came out. We did our task and we came out. Similarly, earlier in 1954 or 55, we supported the king of Nepal. We went in, we came out. We had a military mission there for a long time. Sri Lanka or Pavan, we went on, did our job and we came out. Maldives, I was part of it. We went in and we came out. Okay. So it is not that we are not expeditionary, we do not have that. And that is what we have been doing. We have been helping the region, looking after interests. I'm not saying that we are, we are very kind or something. We have to look after interests. We're in a stable region. But we have always gone in and come out, unlike many other countries who go in and don't come out. Okay. So that is where I feel that if you, as an independent India, we're not expeditionary, but we can surely and certainly, let me show you, protect and project our national interests.
Yeah, I think that's very correct, sir. And this links with the next question, and I'll give a preamble to it because I think this is an important question which Supradeep Reddy has said. Jayan sir, when we eventually come to the inevitable war, what would be the exit strategy? What is the permanent solution to the Pak problem, as it is the revisionist state in the true sense? So let me amplify this question because this connects with the earlier thing of being, having expeditionary capability and all not. And I'll give a comment and then I'd like your response on this. My view is that India is one of the few countries over the past many years that we have gone into a conflict and come out with a clear exit strategies. We've never gone into a conflict without an exit strategy, and we know when it is time to get out, and we've got out. That's the first part of the story. And the second part of the story is while we've not been expeditionary in nature, in the classic sense of thing, the way you have explained we have responded to out of area contingencies, which is beyond our areas, which is somewhere between expeditionary forces. Expeditionary forces literally go to various go long distances to capture and exploit and conquer and all that. We didn't do that, but we've done something else, and our exit strategy is also great. That's the way I look at it. I'd like your comments on this within in the context of the last question and
I,
this.
I, I fully agree with you. You see, we had a great Prime Minister, Mr. Vajpayee, statesman, right? So after the attack on Parliament, terrorist attack on Parliament, again from Pakistan, we went in for Op Prakram, where Mr. Vajpayee, the Prime Minister, said, "Abhi आर पार की लड़ाई होगी." Exact words, आर पार की लड़ाई. So after 6-7 months, someone asked him कि प्रधानमंत्री जी आपने तो आर पार की लड़ाई बोला, लड़ाई कब शुरू हो रही है? He not reply. कहते हैं शुरू तो मैं आज कर दूं, खत्म कैसे करना मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. Okay, so that's a great statement. So when you look at exit strategy, at that point of time we did not have an exit strategy, but now we have an exit strategy and we go with the exit strategy. That is one. I hope I'm answering your question to that.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
also,
yeah.
even in Op Sindoor, we had a particular end state in mind before we started the military operations. Okay, there was a preparatory stage. We went for IWT, banning of flights, all that jingle. But we had an end state in mind, and we always worked to the end state, and the end state was simple. We need to have escalation control, which we had. If Pakistan attacked our military targets, we hit back at Pakistan military targets. Okay. So that is when that we talk of punitive and preemptive operation. Your next question is a very interesting one, actually. This is something which is very thought provoking, and normally no one asks that. The key challenge for India in the West with Pakistan, which is a mischievous state, mischievous nation, is to change Pakistan's behavior towards India in the mid to long term. Okay. If you look at the world, England, France had a 100-year war. 100-year war, right? So there have been wars all over the world. Look at the recent wars. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, whatever is happening. There's been no end to it. But in this particular case, we had a very sharp, swift, surgical operation. Now, but that does not contribute to the long term, directly to the long term changing of Pakistan behavior. So we'll have to look at how to change Pakistan's behavior towards the long term. And that is what I was initially trying to tell you. Address the people, address the Pakistani army, address the political dispensation, take advantage of Pakistan being economically weak, militarily weak, politically weak. Right? This has to come from within Pakistan. The issue is the relevance of the Pakistani army. Pakistani army drives India policy, and the relevance of the Pakistani army, when I talk about relevance of the Pakistani army, its political relevance, its economic relevance, its domestic relevance, is anti-India. So if we do not degrade the Pakistani army, this will continue. We degraded the Pakistani army this time, but what happened? General Munir became a field marshal, trying to tell people that it's there, but people will see through it after some time. The euphoria lasts so much and no more. Okay, so we'll have to, at some point of time, address different constituencies in Pakistan. In many ways, there's a long question. We can, go over this.
Yeah.
There are many ways of doing it, and but we'll have to look at change. We can't live in perpetuated war with Pakistan. Neither Pakistan can. They'll get tired. We're a big country, it doesn't matter to us. When we talk about Pakistan, we're talking about only 3 to 4 states which border Pakistan. But complete Pakistan vulnerable. This time it has shown Pakistan got zero strategic depth. We can hit Pakistan at every place. We have the range, we have the reach. If we did not do it, because we don't want to do it. But the day we want to do it, we can do it.
Yeah. This is from Brigadier Vinayak Ramnarayan. So we need to exploit the fissures in Pak and China, Pak Baluchistan, KPK, Sindh and Afghanistan border areas, China, Uyghur, Tibet, and underprivileged population. Well, if would you like to comment, sir? But because this is just a statement of fact, I think we
No, no,
understand what
no.
he's speaking.
Depends when you say exploit in what domain. A lot of people say we should do covert operation. Sorry, we don't. We are a responsible nation. We don't. We don't do covert operations. Sorry, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it. Terror anywhere in the world is unacceptable to India. We don't support terror. That is the bottom line. And the Prime Minister is very categorical about this. He said so. So let's look at that. I know it pains, it hurts. I can understand that. But we cannot do what is wrong. And terror is wrong.
Okay. This is an interesting kind of a question. Do you think now Pakistan will go for theaterization?
I don't really think Pakistan was theaterization. They were different hierarchy system. In there, the corps commander, Pakistan corps commanders are part of the apex decision-making authorities. Uh, when I say apex, I mean even at the national level, because like I said earlier, the Pakistan government is selected government, selected by the Pakistan Army Chief and the corps commanders. So they have a different system altogether. Uh, I don't think they'll go on theaterization because they are also a domestic powerhouse, right? They're not looking at the at threats and peace the way we look at. They're a domestic powerhouse. They rule Pakistan. Like everyone says at the cost of reputation, every nation and army, Pakistan as a nation, Pakistan army as a nation. So I don't think they'll go with theaterization. That will mean changing the structures, which is not in the interest of the of the
Good.
Pakistani army.
Yeah. Our enemy's strength is not their military power, but our predictable, gentlemanly, and peace-seeking tendency. How about being unpredictable instead?
I would like to disagree over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Strategy
That's why I
ambiguity.
put it up.
Yeah, let's not go in by the common narrative. Strategy ambiguity has always been part of India's strategy, especially military strategy. We've been through this, and that is how in Op Sindhu, let's take an example. Despite the lack of strategic surprise, we were told on 23rd of May, the Prime Minister made a categorical statement that we are coming and getting you. So there's no strategic surprise. There is no operational surprise. Pakistan ready. There's no tactical surprise. But there's strategic ambiguity. कब क्या करेंगे? And they were fighting the last war कि ये थोड़ा बालाकोट कर देंगे, थोड़ा ये सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक कर देंगे. What do you do? Okay. So, let's not go to the details, but strategy ambiguity has to be part and parcel of addressing our adversaries.
Yeah, and let me add, you see, there's a mental change in Pakistan. This is something everyone has to understand. So far, Pakistan was saying, okay, we'll do whatever we want across the LOC. They'll come, they'll try across the LOC, or they'll try somewhere small, ye, wo. You hit them at the depth. No, Pakistanis will keep looking 360 degrees around. That's the kind of unpredictability. He doesn't know where you're going to hit him next. For all you know, next time the whole story might start in his depth. And what does he do? So that's what General Bhatia was saying. Strategic ambiguity is a huge thing which you have injected, into Pakistan. So we'll see the outcomes as we go along. And so, anything else you would like to say? Because with this, I'll close. And I thought we had a great discussion.
No, thank you very much. I think the interactive session was far better. Very good. I think a very informed audience. I must say that. One of the conversations I enjoyed the maximum, though it's a longish one, but I really enjoyed the conversation. And always good to be on a platform and a very informed audience. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And I'd like to thank all of you who have put up your questions. I've taken some excellent questions which you have put up, which I always get. And we've got some, thought-provoking answers. For anything, there's no end to this kind of thinking. This will have to keep going on. Unless we keep thinking constantly, we will not come out with solutions for ourselves. I'm sorry I've not been able to take your other questions, all of you who have posed. Maybe tomorrow evening we'll do this. You can pose all your questions and I'll answer them. And I'll take time to answer them. I'll not talk much. I'll take your questions. So tomorrow evening, definitely we'll be into more of a Q&A session than a normal thing. But thanks for your wonderful questions. So thanks a lot once again, and Jai Hind to you and Jai Hind to all viewers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jai Hind. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.